Welcome to Vibrant Leadership for Educational Leaders. You know that feeling you get when you have a tough conversation with a parent, deliver critical feedback to a staff member, or unite a divided team, that knot in your stomach that says, I'm a great educator, but am I communicating this the right way? I've been there. Year after year, I'd write into my growth plan in different ways something about connections, crucial conversations, difficult people, conflict resolution. Same struggle, different words. I'm Crystal Atkinson, and after more than 20 years of teaching and leading in public education, I've cracked the code on the communication skills that matter most, and I'm sharing them all with you. So, whether you're dealing with resistant staff, an anxious parent, or complex community dynamics, this podcast will give you the strategies and confidence to handle it all. Together, we'll explore how to connect with people who challenge you most, inspire your team to do their best work, and navigate conflict without losing sleep. Because here's what I've learned: leadership isn't just about vision and strategy, it's about the conversations that happen every single day. And those conversations, they can be taught, practiced, and mastered. Welcome again to Vibrant Leadership for Educational Leaders. Let's transform the way you communicate. Friends, colleagues, those of you who've been around for a while, you may have noticed I have disappeared for a while, but I am back. Life has been so busy as I have been in a season of transition that I had to press pause on something. And if you've been in my world, whether you're on social media, here on the podcast, you know that for me, living out all of the components of wellness is something that I practice. It isn't just something that I talk about. And so when I say, you need to press pause sometimes, you need to say yes to the things that really matter. You need to say no to the things that don't fit in today so that ultimately you can show up authentically and lead your very best life. Well, today's episode has been on my heart, so much so that I am recording it to you live from my hotel room because I'm like, I'm never going to get to this. So done is better than perfect. We talk about this all the time. And again, if you believe it, you need to model it. So here we are. Welcome to today's episode, all about communicating through transitions. Springtime in education is about transitions. Whether or not you are navigating a transition yourself, there are people around you who are. And whenever we go through a transition in life, we are uncomfortable. Humans by nature don't like change. We don't like unpredictable. We don't like the unknown. And so whenever there's a transition, we need to acknowledge the emotions that we are holding, that the people around us are holding, that perhaps our entire organization are holding, and not dismiss those senses of fear and uncertainty and questions that come with transition. So this spring, I knew I needed a transition. I knew I needed something new and different in my life. I was ready for a new challenge. And so I started to look in various school divisions for a position that aligned with something that I just felt on my heart was time for me to do. So that's just what I did. And this fall, I will be leaving my central office position to go back into the school as a principal. And that has brought a lot of emotions. I am really excited. I'm really excited. I get to work with such an epic staff. I know of this staff. I've worked with several of them, but I've never worked in the same building with more than a very, very, very small number. So I'm really excited to join this staff. At the same time, I acknowledge that there were many people who applied for this job who didn't get the position. I acknowledge that there are many people on staff who know of me, but they don't know me, right? And that is something that I am having to navigate. It's a period of transition. And the first component of transitions that I want to invite you to allow yourself to do is both celebrate any aspect of the transition that you want to celebrate. So I celebrate the fact that I have been offered this position and I'm really excited to join the team, while also holding space for other people's emotions that may be opposite or contrary to mine. We can experience as humans both and. We do not need to feed in to this polarization narrative that society is yelling right now, that you need to be all one or all the other. That simply is not true. As human beings, we have the capacity to hold both and. I can be both excited about something and acknowledge and hold space for somebody who may not be excited, who might be nervous about something. So look around, see who are the people who are excited about the transitions. How can you support them? How can you elevate them? How can you be in their corner? And then notice the people who perhaps have a little bit of fear, a little bit of uncertainty, and they're not excited about change. They're nervous. They have to go to a new school. They didn't get a position they wanted. They're still applying to different jobs that are out there, and there's a lot of uncertainty in them. As a leader, how can we walk alongside both of these people? All emotions are valid. As a friend of mine and a colleague of mine says, all behaviors are not. So there is a difference, but we need to hold space for each other. That is such an important part of being a vibrant leader. When we talk about that authenticity and that belonging, we need to hold space for how each other are feeling when there's mixed emotions, when there are all of those different parts. Now, let's say you are this person who is being met with resistance. Here's a couple of pointers for you. First, I invite you to hold space for the other party involved and listen to them. Listen to them. Lean in. They have lived experience. They have ideas. They have fears. Allow space for those experiences to be communicated, to be shared. When you understand that not all reactions are about you, it takes the pressure off. So if somebody is having a big emotion or a big reaction to something, that is about them and their capacity to navigate their emotions, their capacity to navigate change. You can help them through it by being a safe person, by giving them space, by listening to them, but they ultimately need to carry their own loads. So let that sink. Not all reactions are about you. So that first step of just allowing that space is really going to help your partnerships. When we consider not all emotions are about you, the next piece is to remember to leave your prover energy at the door. You don't need to prove anything. You've already received the job. You are going into a new situation. You know, reactions are not about you, they're about other people and their capacity to navigate change. So when you are starting this new role, when you are going into this new space, I recommend not to bring any prover energy. If you're going to come in big and bold with all of the answers, people are going to be turned off. And we know this. We've heard this through many, many different people who've said people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You need to care about the human being first. If you're in a human service field such as education, we need to care about people first. You don't need to prove anything. You are already there. You have already been hired. So take a breath, Relax, drop your shoulders, enter the space with love, curiosity, and be that safe space. Offer a space to your entire organization where they know they are seen, where they matter, and where they are important to you. Okay, so that prover energy, it really it really has no space whenever you're transitioning. If you come in talking about your credentials, if you come in trying to impress people, if you come in over explaining all of your ideas, people are going to be turned off. Instead, you're going to lean in, you're going to ask for their input, you're going to ask them what their hopes and dreams are for the organization, and allow those relationships to curate naturally, to come together. Leadership is about that quiet confidence. If you come in trying to prove yourself, people won't buy into whatever you have. We need to be authentic in our actions. And in doing so, we're going to create a space that is psychologically safe for our colleagues to show up, to bring their best selves. Your calm will help settle the nerves. It will help settle the uncertainty. Remember, ultimately, somebody else's reaction is their responsibility. They need to learn how to regulate, they need to learn how to navigate stress. But we also feed into that. So if we come in really heightened and we just push everything aside and say, here I am, move on over, that's not going to help them. Some people are going to need to know you are safe to be with, that you are trustworthy, that you care, that you're going to lead with that thoughtful coaching approach to support your team. So, whether you are in transition or somebody around you is in transition, I guarantee if you are in education, there are lots of people in transition. Give yourself space for all of the juxtapositions, the joy and the fear, the excitement and the hurt. Show up patient and authentic, leaving that prover energy at the door. There is no space for that in leadership. That will only push people away. Remember to stay open. Give that space. You do not need to prove your value in the room. Your presence, your integrity, and your consistency is going to speak for you. I'm Crystal Atkinson. This is Vibrant Leadership for Educational Leaders. We come here to talk about all things vibrant leadership, and communication isn't the only thing